Have you ever wondered why some men seem to command a room without saying a word, while others fade into the background no matter how hard they try? What if the key isn't in slick tricks or manipulative games, but in something far deeper, a truth about yourself that the world doesn't want you to know? Stay with me, because what I'm about to share could change everything about how you show up in life, in love, and in your purpose. Ladies and gentlemen, today I stand before you not to entertain you with flashy words or cheap tactics, but to talk about truths. Truths that some might label Machiavellian, but which I see as essential strategies for mastering your soul. This isn't about manipulation or deceit. This is about mastery rooted in discernment, wisdom, and unshakable self-awareness. You see, the world shouts at you from every screen and every influencer's feed chase. Beg, mold yourself into what others want. Bend until you break just to earn a shred of affection or a fleeting moment of approval. But I'm here to tell you, stand tall. Stand with your shoulders squared and your eyes clear. Because when you walk in truth, in power, in disciplined confidence, you don't have to chase anything. The right people, the right opportunities, and yes, even the right partner will be drawn to you, like iron to a magnet. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to speak to you about something precious. Something that has been twisted, distorted, and corrupted by a culture obsessed with superficiality. Something every young man desperately needs to understand if he wants to build a life worth living. That something is confidence. Today, the world confuses confidence with arrogance. It mistakes conviction for cruelty. The message blasted at you from every corner is that a man with standards who knows his worth must be full of himself or heartless. But I'm here to tell you what the culture won't dare whisper. Real confidence isn't arrogance. True confidence isn't about belittling others. It's about mastering yourself. Confidence is about standing firm in who you are, what you believe, and who you are becoming. It's refusing to let the shallow opinions of strangers or the shifting winds of popular trends knock you off course. It's knowing your worth without having to shout it. It's owning your journey without needing a round of applause. You want to attract the right kind of woman. You want people to trust you, respect you, follow your lead. Then understand this: it doesn't begin with some cheesy line you memorized from an influencer. It doesn't come from techniques copied from viral videos. It starts with conviction, a deep, immovable knowing of who you are and who you refuse to become. Because here's a truth most men never learn until it's too late. Confidence built on ego will always collapse under pressure. It's like building a mansion on sand. It might look impressive for a moment, but the first storm will wash it away. But confidence rooted in truth, real, tested, unshakable truth, cannot be broken no matter what life throws your way. The world trains you to wait for approval, to crave the constant buzz of validation. It teaches you to keep your head down until someone gives you permission to speak, to lead, or even to believe in yourself. But the man who lives with conviction doesn't need permission to do what's right. He doesn't need to collect likes on a post before he takes a step forward. He moves decisively, quietly, with clarity, and he does it without apology. Let me tell you something you might not want to hear, but you absolutely need to hear. A woman will not chase a man who is uncertain of himself. She may pity him. She may even tolerate him for a time. But she will not desire him. Because a man without conviction cannot provide leadership. He cannot offer protection. He cannot create purpose. And, whether our culture wants to admit it or not, women are drawn to those things. They are drawn to presence, to peace, to a strength that does not flinch. You want to be that man. Then stop apologizing for having standards. Stop shrinking yourself to fit into the fragile egos of weak men or the insecurities of confused women. Start speaking with clarity. Walk into every room without glancing sideways for signs of approval. Because real confidence is not loud or flamboyant. It is quiet, settled, and firm. It doesn't need to be announced. It radiates in your presence. Let the world call you arrogant if it must. Let it mislabel your conviction as harshness. Because the truth is, the same people who criticize you for standing firm will often be the first to look to you for direction when life gets difficult. They will seek your calm when chaos strikes. They will crave your steadiness when everyone else is lost in uncertainty. So hold the line, stay rooted. Build your confidence not on cheap praise or fragile ego, but on the solid rock of self-mastery, disciplined choices, and the courage to live aligned with your deepest convictions. Because when you do, you won't just attract admiration, you'll attract respect. You won't just find fleeting attention, you'll inspire loyalty. And you won't just survive in a world designed to break you, you'll thrive unshakable and free. Let them say you're too intense. Let them whisper that you're too focused, too serious, or too driven. Because here's the truth. You are not here on this earth to be understood by the shallow, by those who skate through life without purpose, by those who fear depth. You are here to earn the respect of those who think deeply, live intentionally, and recognize the rare weight of conviction in a man's soul. And I promise you this: when you walk with that quiet, unwavering authority, when you stop hustling for approval and simply live out your worth, with every breath, the right people will find you irresistible. They will chase you, not because you manipulated them, not because you played some social game or learned a cheap trick online, but because they felt something profoundly real in your presence, something rare. They felt conviction. But listen closely, because this next truth will either make you or break you. Conviction without humility becomes pride. And pride, once it takes root, will corrode you from the inside out. It will blind you to wisdom. It will harden your heart to correction. It will make you arrogant instead of confident, reckless instead of resolute. So yes, you must be confident. Stand tall, speak with clarity, walk with purpose. But you must also remain teachable. Be strong, but know when to surrender your will to something higher than yourself. Be firm in your standards, but gentle in your spirit. Because that is the kind of man who cannot be ignored. That is the kind of man who draws respect not just from women, but from every person who witnesses his life. So I ask you now, and don't rush past this question: what do you truly believe in? What is the truth that burns so fiercely in your chest that no criticism, no rejection, no storm can ever take it away? When life's tempest come, and they will come, what will you cling to? What rock will you anchor yourself to when everything around you shakes? If you don't know the answer yet, then pause. Don't chase anything else. Don't chase women. Don't chase money. Don't chase praise or likes or fleeting moments of fame. Chase truth. Chase conviction. Because when you find it, when you know who you are and what you stand for, you will become immovable. And when you become immovable, you become unforgettable. And that, my friend, is when the world stops and takes notice. That is when they start chasing you. There's a reason the strongest men in history were rarely the loudest. It wasn't because they lacked the power to raise their voices or the force to command a crowd. It was because they had the discipline to stay silent when silence was their greatest strength. They knew there is more power in a calm presence than in loud boasting. A man who cannot control his own desires, no matter how powerful he looks on the outside, is a man chained by his own appetites. He may dress like a leader, he may speak of greatness, but inside he is a prisoner. He may brag of strength, but he is ruled not by principle, not by purpose, but by craving. And let's be clear, no woman, no friend, no child, no community truly honors a man who is ruled by his urges. Desire in itself is not evil, it's natural. It was designed by God to drive you, to push you, to build families, create futures, and leave a legacy worth remembering. But when you hand the wheel of your life over to desire, when you let craving steer your choices, it won't drive you toward greatness. It will drive you straight off a cliff, leaving you in ruins. You cannot lead a life of excellence if every decision is dictated by momentary needs. You cannot inspire anyone if you are a slave to lust addiction, the endless need for attention or emotional dependency that chains you to fear. And hear me clearly on this. The greatest tragedy isn't the spectacular fall you see in headlines. It's the man who spends his entire life teetering on the edge of a fall, convinced he's standing tall because he's never slipped yet. Look around you, open your eyes. How many men have destroyed their futures for 5 minutes of pleasure? How many have sacrificed their integrity, their peace of mind, their families, and their spiritual foundations, because they never learned the power of a single word spoken to their desires? No. No to what dishonors you. No to what leads you astray. No to what poisons your future. No to what devalues the calling on your life. Not now, not this, not her. Every time you say that word with conviction, you strengthen your soul. Every time you refuse to bow to your lesser cravings, you build a backbone of steel. And every time you stand your ground, you show the world and yourself that you are not a slave to fleeting passions, but a man of purpose who is forging a life of unshakable strength. Because when you learn to say no to the wrong things, you carve out space in your life to say yes to the right things, yes to purpose, yes to vision, yes to the kind of peace that calms your soul. This isn't about repression or denying yourself for the sake of it. This is about dominion. It's about self-rule. It's about having the courage to stare your own shadows in the eye and declare with quiet authority, "You do not own me." And I promise you this, every man, no matter how strong or wise, will face temptation. But not every man has to fall. The difference between the one who stumbles and the one who stands firm is not in whether they are tempted, but in whether they were prepared. It is the strength of a man who has trained his soul to hunger for something greater than the fleeting pleasures of the flesh. Listen carefully now, because this is something many Miss Women can see this in you. Whether they ever put it into words or not, they feel it in your presence. A man ruled by lust can never truly hide it. His energy leaks out in restless glances, in wandering eyes, in intentions that feel subtly unsafe, no matter how polite his words. But a man who has learned to master himself, who has built a fortress around his mind, his time, his body, that man stands apart. His presence is steady. His word carries weight. He isn't in every interaction trying to take something. He's trying to give, to build, to leave something better than he found it. He is a man of peace. And peace, more than anything, is magnetic. Do you want peace to chase you? Do you want others to be drawn to you effortlessly? Then stop chasing every fleeting feeling. Start mastering the storm inside your own heart. Be the man who isn't desperate for constant attention, who doesn't need outside validation to feel worthy, who can sit alone in silence without being consumed by the noise of his own cravings. That is real strength. That is lasting security. That, my friend, is what makes people, especially women of depth, want to follow you. Because you don't need to be the richest man in the room. You don't need to have model looks. But you do need to rule yourself. Because if you can't, no woman of real substance will ever trust you. She might admire your drive. She might be entertained by your charm. But she will never chase you because she won't feel safe with you. And safety always begins where self-control begins. So I say to every man listening today, you are not your urges. You are not your cravings. You are not the impulses that try to pull you off course. You are the one who was born to master them. And when you do, everything you once chased will begin to chase you instead. See, this world is deafeningly loud, so loud that it has forgotten how to listen. Everyone is shouting, flaunting, proving, hoping desperately that if they make enough noise, anyone will finally notice them. But real men don't need to shout. Real men don't beg for attention. They command it not through noise, but through the quiet depth of their character. And they don't hide behind silence, they wield it with purpose. They live in it because there's something inside them worth hearing, something real, something rooted, something powerful enough to make silence feel alive. Understand this, you don't need to put on a show to be attractive. You don't need to spill your entire life story in the first conversation to keep someone interested. If you carry depth, your silence will speak louder than another man's endless words. If you carry substance, people will lean in without you having to wave your arms for attention. They will feel a pull to know more, to understand the quiet power that sets you apart. They will chase what they don't immediately understand. And that right there is the heart of mystery. It's not about deceiving anyone. It's not about playing games or hiding who you are. True mystery is about depth. It's about holding something sacred inside yourself that isn't thrown around cheaply for quick validation. Yet far too many men today feel empty inside, and because of that emptiness, they fill every space with noise. They think if they just talk enough, if they're loud enough, if they show enough, they'll matter. They become performers, not leaders. They confuse fleeting attention with lasting respect. They mistake being seen for being valuable. But here's the reality. A woman of real worth does not chase the man who shares everything too soon, who spills his soul at the drop of a hat, hoping it will make someone stay. She is drawn to the man who shares wisely, who reveals his heart in careful layers, not out of desperation, but out of discernment. She doesn't want every detail of your life on the first date. What she wants is to feel there's something more behind your eyes than the words you're saying out loud, a sense that your soul has rooms she hasn't explored yet. Mystery isn't a tactic. It isn't something you fake to impress someone. It's the natural outflow of a rich, cultivated inner life. But if you don't spend time alone in silence, if you don't wrestle with your own thoughts, if you don't build your beliefs, clarify your vision, and root your life in something greater than yourself, what exactly do you have to be mysterious about? Empty men have nothing to protect, so they pour themselves out in a rush, desperate for scraps of attention. But a man of depth guards his spirit like treasure. He doesn't toss his soul on the table for cheap approval or applause. He knows its worth, and so do others. And when a man is rooted in something deeper than his current circumstances, when he carries beliefs and convictions stronger than the whims of the moment, his presence carries weight. He doesn't need to announce himself. He simply is. And that is enough. And I promise you, this women feel it. They might not be able to explain it or put it into words, but they sense it deep in their gut. They notice when a man walks into the room with a soul anchored in conviction, with eyes that see beyond the moment, with words that are few but meaningful. You don't need to flash your success or brag about your achievements. When your heart is steady, when your mind is focused, when your words are rare but true, people will notice without you needing to demand their attention. Because mystery doesn't shout, "Look at me." Mystery whispers. There's more where that came from. It invites curiosity. It makes people lean in instead of pulling away. But let me be crystal clear. Mystery without substance is just manipulation. Don't pretend to be deep. Don't put on a mask of stoic silence thinking it makes you look powerful. Be deep. Build your character when no one's watching. Do the hidden work. Study things that challenge you. Reflect on your choices and their consequences. Pray for wisdom. Struggle with your weaknesses until you learn to master them. Become someone better than you were yesterday. Because when you do these things, you won't need to perform. You won't need to carefully curate an image. You'll simply live in quiet strength, and that will be more than enough to set you apart in a world full of noise. The world has always chased what it doesn't fully understand. There's an irresistible pull toward mystery, toward depth, toward something just out of reach. And the right woman, the kind of woman worth your time, your effort, your heart will chase the man who carries something sacred inside. Something he doesn't give away cheaply to everyone he meets. You want to be magnetic. Then stop trying so hard to be seen by everyone. Stop broadcasting your soul in hopes of quick approval. Instead, focus on becoming someone worth discovering, someone with substance, conviction, and quiet power. You don't owe the deepest parts of yourself to every passerby. Not everyone deserves access to your thoughts, your dreams, or your vulnerabilities. But here's the beautiful truth. When the right one comes along, she will see what others missed. Not because you shouted for her attention, but because you stood still, calm, and unbothered, and she felt your presence more powerfully than she ever felt another man's performance. She will notice the steadiness in your eyes, the peace in your posture, the quiet strength in your words. So walk with calm, even when life is chaotic. Speak with care, knowing your words carry weight. Let your actions speak volumes louder than any boast or empty promise. Live in such a way that your quiet confidence becomes the loudest thing in the room, a silent force that commands respect and draws the right people closer. Because when you live with true depth, you don't need to chase. The world will begin to lean in on its own, hungry to know what you're made of, desperate to understand the kind of man who can stand firm in himself without needing constant applause. There's a kind of man who makes an amazing first impression. He smiles perfectly, speaks smoothly, flatters without hesitation. He knows how to work a room, how to make everyone feel special, how to make a woman feel like she's the only one there until she isn't. Because when the moment fades, so does he. His charm evaporates like morning fog when the sun rises. Because charm by itself is cheap. It's quick, easy, and requires almost no effort beyond a bit of practice. But charm alone doesn't last. It doesn't anchor a soul. It doesn't build something worth keeping. And it certainly doesn't earn what matters most, respect. Now don't misunderstand me. I'm not here to tell you that charm is wrong. A kind word at the right moment, a sense of humor that brings light to heavy days, steady eye contact that shows you're present, thoughtful conversations that go beyond surface talk. Those are all good things. They have their place. But hear me clearly, charm without character is manipulation, plain and simple. And the truth is, women are tired of it. They're exhausted by a world full of smooth talkers with empty promises, men who know how to attract attention but have never learned how to deserve it, how to keep it, how to honor it. Because real respect is a different story entirely. Respect isn't loud. It doesn't need to show off or impress everyone in the room. It stands on its own, quiet but unshakable, like a mountain that has weathered countless storms. You see, real respect, unlike fleeting charm, grows slowly, steadily, and can't be rushed or faked. It's not concerned with what's trending or who's watching. It's built quietly, earned one choice at a time, and it's the foundation of something lasting. And when a woman truly respects a man, that respect runs deeper than any charm ever could. She listens more intently. She watches more closely. She leans in not because he dazzled her with tricks, but because she senses there's something solid, something worthy inside him. You don't have to be perfect to earn respect. You don't need to have it all together every single day. But you do have to live with consistency. You have to walk your talk, say no, when it would be easier to say yes, and stand your ground even when it's tempting to follow the crowd. Because respect is born when people see you make hard choices, keep your word, protect what's right, and stay true to yourself, even when no one else is watching. Let me tell you something that might surprise you. Many women have been charmed before, but very few have truly respected a man, and fewer still have felt compelled to chase one. When a man walks in integrity, when he is principled, patient, and poised, he stands out in a world full of shallow games. She may not know exactly why at first, but she feels it in her bones. This one is different. This man carries something the others don't. You don't need to impress her with clever lines. You need to inspire her with a life worth sharing. You don't need the flashiest words. You need the best life, a life where you're building something meaningful, protecting what matters, and becoming someone better every day. Because when a woman sees you live like that, she doesn't just feel fleeting attraction, she feels trust. And trust gives birth to a desire deeper than momentary infatuation. It's the soul-level desire that whispers, "I want to follow this man's lead." So don't just ask yourself, "Do they like me?" Ask yourself, "Do they respect me?" Because if they don't respect you, nothing else will last. Without respect, they'll never truly stay. Charm might get you in the door, but only respect will keep you in the room, and the kind of woman worth having will never chase mere charm, but she will chase a man she believes in, one who lives by higher standards. So I tell you, be kind. Yes, be warm, be open, be thoughtful, but above all, be solid, be dependable, be anchored. Let her feel, both in your words and in your silence, that you are a man who can be counted on. Because when you earn her respect, you gain something charm could never buy. And you won't have to chase her, she will chase you. Remember this too. There is something in a man that withers when he lives without direction. You can see it in his eyes, hear it in his voice. He moves, but goes nowhere. He smiles, but there's no spark. Because no matter how strong, charming, or clever a man seems, if he has no purpose, he becomes a shadow of himself, a ship without a rudder, drifting aimlessly, tossed by every wave and pulled by every current. One day, he's chasing women like they're the answer to his emptiness. The next day, he's chasing money, convinced that the next dollar will finally make him feel like he matters. And then, without warning, he's lost again, drifting, chasing nothing at all, wondering why every path seems to lead him back to the same hollow place. Yet this world has taught men from a young age that pleasure is the ultimate prize, that comfort is the goal, that if you collect enough things, enough admiration, enough distractions, you've won. But let me tell you a truth. Most men never hear without purpose. None of it will satisfy you. Not the praise, not the pleasures, not the possessions. Do you want to know what makes a man truly magnetic? It's not his style. It's not his watch or his car. It's not the smoothness of his words or how many people hang on them. It's the fire in his eyes when he talks about what he was born to do. It's the quiet certainty in his step, as if every move he makes carries weight. It's the way he says no to meaningless distractions because he's already said yes to something far greater. A man with purpose is rare, and anything rare becomes valuable. Women can sense it almost instinctively. You don't have to announce it or prove it with big speeches. If you're living your purpose, they will feel it when you walk into a room. Without a single word, your posture will speak volumes. Your presence will carry something far heavier than image. It will carry mission. You're not just existing, you're building. That kind of focus is magnetic. It draws people in. It earns respect. It awakens admiration in hearts that long for something real. Because when you are serious about your life, serious people can't help but notice. And the right woman, one who is strong and grounded herself, will not want to lead you. She will want to walk beside you. She won't try to redirect your path. She'll want to join you on it. But here's a painful truth. Too many men abandon their purpose the very moment love comes calling. They change direction just to win attention. They soften their vision so they don't intimidate anyone. They dull their fire so they don't shine too brightly. And when they do this, they lose the very thing that made them attractive in the first place. Hear me? Clearly, love that pulls you away from your calling isn't love at all. It's a distraction dressed up to look like affection. The right woman will never ask you to shrink. She'll challenge you to rise. She'll want to stand next to a man who knows where he's going, not a man who bends with every breeze to keep her interest. So if you don't yet know your purpose, don't spend your energy chasing people. Spend it discovering why you're here. Dig deep. Seek truth. Learn who you are and what you're meant to build. Because purpose isn't just a career. It isn't just some fancy title or a side project you dabble in. Purpose is the reason you wake up in the morning with fire in your chest. It's the conviction that pushes you forward even when the world tries to hold you back. Purpose is what gives meaning to every sacrificed direction, to every day, and courage when fear comes knocking. It's the compass that keeps you from wandering aimlessly through life, the anchor that holds you steady when storms hit, and the torch that lights your way in the dark. It's about the thing that makes you stronger, wiser, and more rooted with every sunrise. It's about the man you are becoming and the life you are building with quiet determination day by day. Because until you discover that purpose, until you find the fire that stirs your soul and gives your life direction, nothing else will feel complete. Not success, not romance, not even moments of fleeting peace. So I urge you with everything I have, build a life that matters. Chase something worth the cost. Find the work that burns in your bones, the mission that makes you wake up with conviction, even on the hardest mornings. Walk a path that demands sacrifice, that costs you comfort, because only then will you find a life of substance. Don't let your pursuit of affection or approval become a detour that pulls you away from your destiny. Because here's what happens when you finally lock in on your calling, when you stop anxiously seeking approval and start walking in quiet, unwavering alignment with who you were created to be. Everything begins to change. The right people will find you, the right opportunities will unfold, and the right woman won't just want to be near you, she'll want to stand shoulder to shoulder with you. She'll want to run with you towards something bigger than either of you alone. One of the greatest traps a man can fall into is the need for things to go his way in order to feel worthy. He walks into conversations desperate for approval, weighing every word by how others will react. He enters relationships hoping, almost begging, to be chosen. And when things don't unfold the way he envisioned, he starts to crumble inside. He questions his own value. He doubts his strength. He wonders if something is wrong with him. But the truth is simpler and more powerful. He's made a critical mistake. He's tied his identity to the outcome instead of mastering his own presence. And here's something most men never learn in a world obsessed with results. When you need a specific result in order to feel complete, you will always feel incomplete. Because outcomes are fickle. People change. Circumstances shift. But presence, your grounded, unshakable presence, is something you can control. If you walk into a room trying to get people to like you, you've already given your power away before you've even spoken. If you speak only to provoke a certain response, you're not speaking from strength, you're performing, hoping to earn permission to believe in yourself. And that, my friend, is a prison with invisible bars. But the man who shows up fully, calmly, and securely present doesn't need the outcome to confirm his worth. He doesn't need a woman to say yes to feel like a man. He doesn't need a crowd to cheer to believe in his mission. He doesn't need every moment to go perfectly in order to feel peace. He carries something far deeper than success. He carries a sense of inner calm, a rootedness that doesn't rise or fall with people's opinions or the swirling chaos of life. And that kind of presence, that quiet, unforced confidence, is magnetic. It draws others not because you're chasing them, but because you're simply standing firm in who you are. You want to know why some men seem so effortlessly attractive, why they command respect and curiosity without trying. It's precisely because they're not trying. They're just being. They're grounded in their identity, unshaken by the need for external validation, unburdened by the desperation to prove themselves. They listen deeply without trying to impress. They speak with clarity, but not with the hidden agenda of convincing everyone around them. They show up fully themselves, present in the moment, and let life unfold without forcing it. That steadiness, that calm conviction, is what creates the kind of gravity people can't resist. Because people, especially women, sense when a man's value is not hanging on their response. They sense when a man's self-worth doesn't depend on applause or agreement. And it makes them feel safe. It makes them feel intrigued. It makes them lean in. As we've seen, the men who draw respect and desire aren't those chasing approval. They're the ones rooted in purpose, grounded in themselves, and fully present in each moment. Not because they don't care about life or people, but because they've already done the hard work inside. They've wrestled with their fears, faced their insecurities, and come out knowing who they are without needing outside confirmation. They don't require a certain outcome to feel like a man. They already are one. And, let me tell you, these women feel this on a level they can't always explain. They sense it in their bones. A man who is detached from outcomes but fully engaged in the present carries a different kind of weight. He's not rushing the moment trying to impress with forced charm. He's not overeager, fidgeting to please. He's not desperately trying to pull something from her approval, affection, or validation. He's simply offering his presence without fear of rejection, knowing that being real matters more than being liked. That quiet confidence, that powerful stillness, is magnetic, especially to someone who's tired of men who only know how to chase wins, not connections, who pursue affection like it's a prize rather than a partnership. So, how do you become this kind of man? How do you grow into the man who doesn't need every moment to go his way in order to feel whole? You stop living trapped in the future, rehearsing imaginary conversations, worrying about outcomes you can't control, and start showing up fully for the now. You stop scripting your next move in your head and start listening. Truly listening with the intent to understand rather than to impress. You stop fixating on whether you're being liked and start focusing on whether you're being real, whether your words and actions match the truth of who you are. You stop needing to win every interaction and start needing to live in integrity with yourself. That's where peace is born, not in trying to control every variable, but in detaching your inner state from the outcome. Not because you don't care what happens, but because your peace no longer depends on things going exactly your way. You have something deeper, something stronger than the need to manipulate every conversation, every moment, every person you meet. You carry a presence that speaks louder than any performance or flashy gesture. And when people meet you, they won't feel like they're being sold something or subtly pressured to respond a certain way. They'll feel presence. They'll feel seen, heard, and valued, not because you're trying to earn their approval, but because you've already found approval within yourself by facing who you are and choosing to live with honesty, purpose, and courage. That is what makes you unforgettable. That is what makes people, especially those who matter most, want to stay. Because deep down, everyone is searching for someone who is free, someone who is comfortable enough in their own skin that they create safety, intrigue, and respect in others. A man who doesn't chase every outcome becomes the man others chase. Because he's rare. He's different. He's the calm in the storm, the anchor when life feels chaotic, the one who stands steady when others waver. So I leave you with this final challenge: master the moment. Master yourself. Let go of the desperate need to control what comes next. Trust that when you stand firm in your values and show up as your truest self, The right outcomes will begin to come to you often in ways better than you could ever plan. Because when you no longer need the outcome to feel whole, you finally create the space for the right outcomes to find you.